Alright, what's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at XRP against USDT. Going to be taking a look at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Are we bullish? Do you think we've found support? We're going to plow through all this potential thick resistance, interact with that, multi-dollar range that we came from not too long ago, which is the kind of middle of April there. Or are we still bearish? Support hasn't been found. And we're going to have some more downside ahead of us. Perhaps 50 cents, sub 50 cents, and interact with these kind of lower ranges that we've seen at the kind of like end of last year to the beginning of this year. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on the direction of price action moving forward. Now, jumping right into it, to kind of recap price action that has interacted with this ascending trend line that I started from the kind of middle of March of 2020. We have price action interacting with this ascending trend line with both support and resistance. So we have price action above and below this ascending trend line, respecting it up until kind of today, even more recently. So along the way, interacting with this ascending trend line, we do have interaction with horizontal support and resistance levels. And so to kind of recap this kind of more relevant price action that we've been trading between this really aggressive range. If we consider price action between the 21st of November and to today, we have this very crazy sideways of like ridiculous swing lows of this 17-cent range to ridiculous swing highs of that $1.96 range. And so XRP does want to go up. I believe, in my opinion, fundamentally is still quite bullish, and the demand for XRP is ever so present. Although some technical sell pressure and some considerable consolidation or downside might present itself, as XRP does like to kind of take its time in a crazy sort of consolidation phase before making a break upward or downward. And so even when we have breaks downward after a phase of consolidation, price action usually requires another kind of prolonged phase of accumulation here. And so we have tens of days, like almost a month of accumulation between 62 cents and 46 cents, and then down to this lower phase we have like 37 days of accumulation between pretty much like 31 cents and realistically lows of that 17 cents, but ultimately found support at 24 cents. And then we have this kind of mid-range of accumulation between 62 cents and 46 cents again, but with kind of lows below it. And we stayed between that range for another like 2 months before we were finally able to break significant resistance at 62 cents, plow through more resistance present around 72 to 79 cents, and then we were interacting with that multi-dollar range-ish that we came from kind of not too long ago. And so price action making its way back down to these critical levels that we were trapped in, consolidating between for those tens of days, perhaps months at a time, does suggest that some prolonged sideways could very much occur for XRP in the kind of midterm here, and we could see some consolidation downward, perhaps toward that 46-cent level if we were to confirm 62 cents as resistance. And so, I mean, we do have these candles breaking kind of down below, reaching toward that 46-cent line, price action rallying upward, and from the looks of it, what appears to be sort of like a sort of break downward and retest upward of this ascending trend line, perhaps confirming it as resistance, suggesting perhaps a continuation downward. In addition to confirmation of 62 cents as resistance, I do believe that would be enough to kind of bring us down to that 46-cent line. So daily candles opening and closing below 62 cents is going to be more short-term bearish and would give further confirmation to that level as resistance. And we do have price action in like multiple different periods, spending like tens of days to perhaps several months between this very critical range that we could very well get trapped in again here. And so perhaps some sideways between 62 cents and 46 cents could occur for a period of, for weeks, days, like I said, and then we could finally find our way back upward. Although, say we fail to hold that 46-cent level, we got to go with the flow of the market. I do suspect my next kind of bearish target would be 31 cents if we, like I said, if we fail to hold 46 cents. Now, when we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibba Zucchini, Fibba Illuminati, Fettuccine, Fibba Bikini, Fibba Illuminati lines, again, we can see a new perspective come into play. We have some critical consolidation between the 0.382 Fibonacci line at 81 cents, up to that 0.5 Fibonacci line at kind of $1.03. We had price action respecting those levels for a period of days, kind of between the 19th of May and the 18th of June when we broke down below, falling all the way through potential support at within this range of 79 cents to 72 cents. Fell through potential support at that very critical 200 daily moving average, which is going to be a very bearish technical sell indicator at the moment. There's going to be a lot of sell pressure at that level. I do believe there's going to be very thick resistance ahead of us here if we do even find support at 62 cents. And so price action plowing all the way down through 62 cents briefly to interact with that 0.236 Fibonacci line at 54 cents, which would be a much more bullish bounce target in the short term, in my opinion. If we do hold that 0.236 line, I kind of suspect interaction above 62 cents to be kind of sooner than later. Although if we fail to hold, I guess 54 cents, and we interact with that 46 cents line, then we perhaps could suspect that continued sideways between those two ranges before we can see the uptrend kind of continue. We do have that sell for against USDT for the price of XRP, so we do have kind of more, still some bearish suggestions in play here. Once EngineeringRobo becomes more bullish, we can suspect more upside in the short term, although with these kind of like technical indicators in play, EngineeringRobo being a tad bearish, and the fact that price is at potential resistance, I do believe some short-term downside could be ahead of us here. Now, when we consider XRP against BTC, we can see a new perspective come into play. Crazy consolidation between these huge ranges here. We do have potent sideways for a period of days. A good 2 months, again, between this 28.90 Satoshi all the way down to 22.65 Satoshi was a very significant range that we traded back and forth in, and I do believe very significant resistance is going to be present now at that 22.61 level. So even when we find support to come and interact with it, I do believe we will have to have a lot of momentum to break it upward and then come back down to it as support before continuing kind of the uptrend. And so I do believe with price action opening and closing below that 22.65 kind of level there, that does perhaps confirm it as resistance, and we do see price action making its way toward my 1530 Satoshi level, which is going to be my kind of like short-term bearish target here. I suspect price action will likely find support at this level. Failure to hold that range will bring us down into lower levels that will require a change of analysis. But at the moment, price action looking a tad more bullish, in my opinion. But when we consider EngineeringRobo along with the Fibba Zucchini lines, we can see a new perspective come into play. We have that sell for against the price of Bitcoin, suggesting some kind of more downside. Although giving us hope in the long term, we have price action above that 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin, which is going to be still bullish for us in the long term, and that's what's giving us kind of support at the moment. Some technical support is being found there, but price action is still between a very tight range. We're going to see some resistance at the 0.618 Fibonacci line at 2014 Satoshi, just kind of above where we are currently. And then if we fail to hold that 200 daily moving average, there is still a chance that we could find support at my 1529 Satoshi level. And then even if we fail to hold there, another kind of like last chance sort of like bullish bounce target, I believe will be that 0.786 Fibonacci line at kind of like the 1403 level there. So we do have some potential kind of bounce targets ahead of us. We do have some long-term hope in the kind of bullishness of the trend, with price action being above that 200 daily moving average. Price action closing below it is going to be a tad more bearish, but I do believe we are looking for support potentially around that sort of 1525 level, and that 0.786 line at 1400 Satoshi is going to be my kind of like bearish kind of short-term targets here. Say we fail to bounce off of that 200 daily moving average, like I said, we're likely to find support kind of between 1530 and that 1400 level. So lots going on with XRP at the moment. Price is in a volatile state. We do have a chance to bounce, although there's plenty of resistance ahead of us, and price action I do believe is at resistance, and some perhaps mini downside in the short term could present itself. Some lower levels could present themselves. Some good zones of accumulation could present themselves kind of moving forward before the uptrend can continue. But when we consider Bitcoin against USDT, we could see new perspective coming into play. Price action interacting with that pivotal 32K level. We have an indecision candle. Lots of, fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market at the moment. Bitcoin has been so bullish the past year, and suddenly this jarring pullback, this crazy crash from all-time highs, is very surprising for new investors, I believe. And so I believe a lot of perhaps weak hands are being shaken out with this with these crazy volatile moves. And so with price action interacting with 32K as resistance at the moment, if we were to confirm that level as resistance, say we get some daily candles opening and closing below 32K, we will likely see 27K, like the 0.382 Fibonacci line. 27K is still going to be my sort of like bullish, bearish target here. That's still a level I believe we can bounce. Failure to hold that range will send us, I believe, in a more drastic downward kind of movement here. My next kind of bottoming target, say we fail to hold 27K. My next kind of like significant, very significant target that we could bounce from is going to be 19,000 or the 0.236 line at 18,100. So there is definitely still room for downside and for the trend to be still bullish in the long term. I do believe we've been very bullish very quickly. So some downside, some sideways, some accumulation, some lower levels representing themselves, I do believe is very bullish for Bitcoin in the long term. Although some, short term, some mid-term downside, some sideways, the more accumulation we have, I believe the more bullish long term we can be. So I believe all of this is very healthy for Bitcoin, but we got to go with the flow of the market. And so I do suspect, like I said, if we confirm 32K as resistance, we could have some very aggressive lower levels present themselves very quickly. So price action is in a very kind of pivotal state at the moment. Significant resistance was found at that 0.5 Fibonacci level, 34,000. We found support along it a couple times. We even broke down below, bounced off of the 32K again to interact with that 0.5 line as resistance, and now that rejection has sent us through 32K, and now we seem to be seeing if we can recover here. The 0.618 Fibonacci line at 41,500, very significant resistance, so much so that even when we came off of 34K, we even got near it, and it slapped us all the way back down to 34, now to 32K. And so significant resistance is ahead. There's going to be plenty of sell pressure at these levels that we approach. Fundamental buy pressure is present. The demand for Bitcoin is ever so abundant still. So I do believe the fundamentals are with us, but the technical sell pressure at these levels is going to be very hard to kind of break, and is going to cause some very crazy sideways. Some multi-$1,000 volatile swings up and down are likely to continue for a period of weeks, perhaps even months, before the uptrend can continue. We can see all-time highs again. But overall, I'm still long-term bullish. In the short term, we could see some more accumulation, some more downside, which is going to be very bullish for Bitcoin in the long term. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Let me know what you're doing with your bag. If you have one, do you trade Bitcoin? Do you trade XRP? Do you think we found support? Are we about to bounce? Or do you think we're still bearish? Are we heading to the teens, 20Ks, lower levels that we came from, and in the not-so-distant past? Are you selling your whole bag during all this FUD? Are you accumulating in the lows? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below, and tune in for the next one.